What if your community wasn't just a support channel, but a strategic growth engine? In this episode, we dive into how top brands have turned engagement into global impact and why community might be the most underrated go to market advantage you're not using yet. Learn what's working, what's not, and how to unlock real ROI through community led growth. Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, and transformational coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible, leveraging podcasts and Substack. Today, we are speaking with Joshua Zerkel. Josh is the head of marketing and a community-led growth at Gradual, a community platform that helps organizations turn engagement into insight. With 20 plus years of experience leading programs at top brands like Asana, Evernote, CBS News, and HeyGen, Josh blends strategic clarity with a people-first approach to scale impact. He's also the founder of Community Code, a Substack dedicated to unlocking the power of community-led growth. Welcome to the show, Josh. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Thanks, Jill. Happy to be here.
All right, here's the big question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
I'm biased, but I really think the biggest thing that we can do is connecting to other people. My whole work is all about building connection, building community in all of its various colors and forms. But I think fundamentally, we live in a world that is inching towards disconnection. And the more that we can build connections, retain those bonds, and really understand other people, the better the world will be.
I could not agree with you more. We started out in tribes. We have families. We're community creatures. And when we start trying to be the best at everything, and nobody is the best at everything. In fact, they've done studies where, valedictorians who are like super great in school, they usually aren't like the best in any one field when they get out of school. Whereas, the math nerd who fails horribly at English and other social skills, I'm stereotyping here because, all math nerds aren't that way, but, just we have this picture of somebody that's just like so singularly focused. Those people take us leaps and bounds beyond what somebody who is a generalist could ever do. You can look at the medical community. It's the same way. It's just like, as individuals, those when we're singularly focused on what we're really good at, we need community because we need, those computer nerds, they have moms to help them with the other things. They can't exist by themselves. And I think we all, if we could just embrace what we're good at and accept help, and community is a great place for helping each other. You throw in what you've got and let others throw in what they've got.
I agree completely. I think community offers balance. I'm good at
Yeah.
something, you're good at something else. I know about something, you know about something else. I enjoy something, you enjoy something else. We can actually have conversations about these things and learn from one another and help one another. And whether you're building a community in your personal life or in the business context, the concept is the same. It's people who are all different from one another, but maybe share a common interest or a common need coming together to help get everyone what they need at the end of the day by collaborating, by sharing ideas, and by being there for one another. And I've been fortunate in having been part of many communities and now leading and fostering many communities to see the power that happens when people come together. It's when we start thinking we can do it all on our own or that we should be on our own. That's when we start running into trouble. Communication breaks down, we lack awareness or knowledge, and we make a lot of mistakes, big mistakes and small ones. And community isn't the end all be all solution for everything, but it can really help with that specific challenge.
Yeah. And even if you're starting a community and you feel like you're the leader, I- no one is ever really a leader in a community. You're just another person who maybe has pulled a bunch of people together. But I personally find communities that really thrive and grow are communities where you may have had one person that says, "Oh, let's bring a couple people together." And those couple people also bring people together. And then then they start mushrooming, and it's the MLM model, but it's the MLM model for a reason. They work, and
Yeah.
you get connected with people. LinkedIn's the same way. That's their whole model, is that you're meeting people on different levels, connections.
Yeah, I frame it as I'm never a community leader, I'm a community builder.
Yes,
And
I like that.
I build the foundation. If there's nothing there, I'm going to create the framework. I'm going to start recruiting some of the people who I think might be a good fit and might get some value out of and can offer value to the community, but I can't control what happens there. I'm not the figurehead at the top of it. I'm the person that helps build it so that other people can help grow it and get value from it.
A good example of this in business is Apple. When Steve Jobs first started it, Steve Jobs lost his job. They fired him because he built such an interesting community, and but the community itself decided it was going to go in a different direction. So he had to go out and build a different community.
Definitely. Yeah, I think especially if we're looking at the business world and the tech world, the waxes and wanes, the various paths that community takes in
Mhm.
support of and sometimes against businesses. It's really interesting to see those dynamics at play. I personally have been very fortunate to help build and foster communities at a number of really amazing organizations, both large and small, and just interacting with the various community members, talking with them, helping them understand what we're building so they feel like they're part of the family, but also celebrating them as part of the growth and recognizing back to them that a lot of the growth has been due to them and their evangelism and their connection with one another. That's a really amazing thing that I think is really unique to community. It takes something as hard and sterile as here's a computer and builds the personal element around it. I don't know that Apple would be where it is today without that community that was built in those early days and the fervent passion that they carried with them throughout the decades. And that's all due to community. Yeah, there's great branding there. The products are amazing, but it's the people element that's really carried it forward for so long.
Yeah, and the people, both on the consumer side, but also on the production side. And that's how great brands are really built.
Hmm.
And are no brands that really come to mind, maybe Microsoft, but that aren't fervently built by both the consumer and the production company being in community with each other. One listens to the other, one supports the other. It kind of goes back and forth. Amazon is a good example of that. They got where they got by building community of people, affiliates, people that promoted their products for them, people that brought products to their platform for them. I mean, Amazon is all about community. That's how they got where they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting examples of very community forward organizations. Those included one that comes to mind is Figma. Figma is a design tool like the suite of tools from Adobe, but what they did differently at the very beginning was they put community at the center of their growth model. And from involving community creators, designers at a very early stage, they were able to very robustly build out, I would say, fervent, insane levels of brand love. People love Figma. They advocate for it. I went to the Figma conference a couple of years ago, and at most conferences, there's like a swag booth. But the line for the Figma swag booth, where people would actually pay money to buy a Figma t-shirt or a bag, all of which were beautifully designed, the line was literally wrapped around the conference center. That's how excited people were to be part of this community. And whether you're building a community for your personal life, for your spiritual life, for your business, that concept of I want this excitement around the thing that I'm building, and I want people to feel really invested in it, that's community.
Yeah, it's an energy, and it gives life to an inanimate object or subject, but the energy is the life force behind it, and it can ebb and flow, and you can kill it, but you can also grow something really amazing and beautiful with it.
Absolutely. What's interesting right now is I'm in conversation with many AI companies that are very interested in building community around their brands. It's
Mhm.
pairing this highly technological tool and the capability of something that's designed to augment the work that we do with people, actual real life humans who are learning about how to use these tools, are excited about talking about them, interested in the possibility of how we can pair these two things together, the people part and the tech part. And so even with the most cold technology that's out there that some people feel really strongly about one way or another, there's ways to really leverage community to humanize it and get the people who are really interested and want to learn together around it. And this is true for so many of the different types of organizations I've worked with over the years.
It's it's one of the most misunderstood and missed things available to businesses out there that people just don't even really think about that. They hear about marketing and there's traditional ways of doing things, but really community is where your brand is at. And if you can't generate that human to human element in what you're doing, you will fail and you'll have problems. I'm involved with a company right now that it's experiencing these problems because they don't understand that element of it. Trying to drag them kicking and screaming into like, I know you guys are all tech nerds and you're in Singapore, but really, we just want to know that you're real and that we're part of something really big and special beyond me just standing out there saying, "You guys, this is so great."
Yeah, it's interesting. I think community is broadly misunderstood or understood only to a small degree. Part of it is that if community builders do our jobs well, the visual outcome of community is what's often seen as fun. It's like there are pictures of people at events, there's happy posts online. All the work is underneath to make that happen. And the fun is the outcome. It's not the impact. It's the impact on the individual that's part of the community, but the business impact is deeper engagement with the brand, better advocacy, engagement with the product or tool or service, all of the tangible results that the suite of business leaders really care about that impact the top line or the bottom line. But the experience of creating the community is often the only parts that's visual, is like, oh, there was a fun event, great. What most decision makers and business leaders don't see is how that actually impacts the business positively.
When you talk about Figma's line around the whole convention center to buy swag, swag is advertising.
It
Every
is.
time somebody wears one of those t-shirts, it says, "This is how great this company is. I'm wearing it on my apparel. I'm a
That's
walking
right.
billboard. Ask me about it." People that don't know about Figma will say, "Hey, what's that?" You got
Yeah.
another salesperson going. Hey,
Yeah.
and
Even
when
if,
you,
if your business isn't like flashy and design oriented or customer facing, like on the B2C business to consumer level, there's still opportunities to create really, really fervent communities. Like think of Salesforce. Like this is a company that makes business to business tools. These are not sexy. They're needed, but they're not sexy. But they've built an incredible community around them where people are super proud to wear the hoodie or the t-shirt and put on their profiles that I'm a trailblazer in the Salesforce community. Regardless of what the thing that you're offering is, there's people, real humans that are interacting with it, hoping, hope you probably if you're a business owner, hoping that they're buying from you. They're people. And when there's people, there's the opportunity to create connection.
yeah. And it's the connection comes first, then the problem solving. Because you know that old saying, people do business with people they know, like, and trust? It's still applicable. We still
It's
want to know who we're dealing with and whether we want to support them or not.
I think that's actually more true now than it has been in years past. There's with the array of misinformation, disinformation, lack of trust and truth that a lot of people feel when people are making purchasing decisions, especially, they really want to know that they're buying something that they can trust. And if you can't like trust like a marketing message or something that a salesperson is telling you, oftentimes you go to people that you know and say, "Hey, what are you using for this? Like, what's your preferred vendor? Who should I be talking to about this problem I'm solving? That is all word of mouth advocacy that comes via community. And so while marketing and sales are still really important, brand awareness happens through a variety of ways. Having community as part of the go-to-market model helps augment all of that that's already happening because it taps into that natural human proclivity to know, like, and trust
And help each other.
and
Human
help each
beings
other.
like to help each other.
We
And
do.
if you're part of a community, you feel like, you want to help the community be really good. And
That's right.
because it gives you that endorphin that kicks in when you're like being useful. And we all
Yeah.
want to be useful and helpful, and we want things to work.
I fundamentally believe most people want to help one another. They may not know exactly how or
Mhm.
know when, but in communities, an easy avenue to make that happen. If you know someone needs help, you see them posting a question, or you attend an event and someone raises their hand. I think it's in most of our nature to want to contribute, to want to assist, to want to help, to want to add value. And community is a natural way to make that happen.
And for companies on the top side of it, being part of a community allows you to get really up close and personal with your consumers and listen to what experiences they're having so you can pivot your product to meet their needs that will change over time. If you're disconnected from your consumer, yeah, you can do research, but there's nothing like a community that you can just, hey, how do you guys feel about this? And you'll get feedback because, again, people want to feel like they're contributing to something meaningful. And the more that the company listens to their community, the more their community is going to come alive and feed them information that will just help them further their cold marketing, because you know who your customers are and you can find more people like them and understand the other communities that they're attached to, so that maybe you can move your marketing to something that's sort of side to what your base of community is interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Fundamentally, in any business of any size, whether you're a solopreneur or coach or creator, all the way up to the biggest Fortune 100 companies, you want to know who your customers are. You want to listen to them. You want to understand what their needs are so that you can better meet them. So you can have real conversations that are impactful for them, that you can build services or products that really
Mhm.
meet their needs. You do that by having a format, a forum where you can have those conversations, whether it's live in person, whether it's online. That's almost immaterial. But conceptually, you want to have a spot where customers can go to share with each other and with you what's
Mhm.
working, what isn't, what they want, what they need, what's missing. And having that facilitated via community makes it feel safe for them to do that. It feels very different when you're part of a community sharing your ideas, sharing your input, offering feedback than it does when you're in like a user interface study or some sort of like customer interview where it's like very pressured. You're pressured to perform the act of being a customer.
Mhm.
It's very different than when you're in a community and you naturally have a challenge or an idea that comes up and you share it. So that level of connection and feedback and that loop of we're the company, we're giving you a spot to connect and talk to one another. You share, we take your feedback, we listen to it, and then we come back to you with what we're building or how we're responding. It creates that dynamic trust amongst the business and the customer who's part of it. Because you don't have a business without customers, and you don't have customers when there's nothing to buy from a business. It's a cycle. And having the conversation be part of that cycle, one that has a foundation of trust, is really, really critical.
It also allows you to make sales in a way that isn't like direct marketing sort of selling. When you're answering questions and when you're providing real value to the community as a business owner, a- and you're letting them know, hey, we heard you and this is what we're developing, you've got a natural line of customers that are going to be ready to make that purchase when it comes out because they were asking for it. You've created something of value to them for them. It's like, well, heck yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because this is one of the things I have conversations with people who don't yet have communities about is, well, we already have sales, we already have marketing. What do we need community for? I don't know about you or the people who might be watching or listening, but I don't want to be sold anything anymore. I want to naturally decide what I'm going to buy. The way that I decide is by asking people around me, looking at online reviews that are posted by other people, checking on social media, doing my own research. By the time I get to a salesperson, if at all, the decision has already been made in most cases. I'm just using them to finalize the deal. And
Mhm.
so I think most of us are kind of past the point that we really look at marketing message. We're past the point where we're asking to be educated by a salesperson. What we're looking for is, I want to trust this brand. The way that I trust this brand is by understanding the value that they're creating for me even before I make a purchase. And community is a great way to put your company's content, your organization's ideas, if you're an independent solopreneur, your thought leadership out into the world and get feedback on it from a community of people that you can build who can then trust you. And when they're ready to make a purchase of whatever it is that you offer, they're already part of your family. And so the trust is already built.
Yeah,
Without that, it's really tougher to make that leap. Because if you think you're just going to win by putting out marketing messages and hiring a bunch of salespeople, it's diminishing returns at this point.
it is. You can see that on Facebook. I I've watched sales, the sponsored ads, and in the beginning, I know that these people, they have big sales teams and they put up their ads and they spend their $300 to get a lead, which is about how expensive it is right now. And in the beginning, it's self-liquidating. They make enough sales to afford that kind of advertising. But as they're making, if they don't adjust their offer, their leads dry up because
That's
they're
right.
not adjusting to the market and they're not really listening to a community. They just have this idea and they're just going to sell their one little widget or course or thing. Um, but it becomes a law of diminishing returns because there's only so many people in in your buyer pool. Unless you're listening to that buyer pool, the people that have already purchased from you, and you're continuing to grow them and become customers on a different level. The reason
That's right.
Apple comes out with a new phone every year is because they listen to their community and their community wants different things. And so they line up every year for miles to buy to give Apple another, 1,000, 2,000, whatever their price is.
Yeah. It's
They're
like, please take
loyal
my
to it.
money. There, it's beyond loyalty. It's like, here's my cash, please take it. Which is
Yeah.
an amazing level of brand loyalty and trust. And I think every organization, no matter how big or small, from the solopreneur up to the biggest organization,
Mhm.
it behooves us, if we're running any sort of business, to want to create that level of trust. If I'm a solopreneur, I want that fervent level of brand advocacy for me and what I offer, just as Apple does for what they offer. And you do that by creating tremendous value for the people who are coming to you. Value before they make a purchase and value after. And
Yep.
with everything in between. That's how people really come to care about you and your brand. Of course, the baseline is have a great product or service, but what else is around it? What else can you offer around that to help people get more out of whatever it is that they bought from you, to help them understand how to leverage it as part of their work or their life? That sort of content, those relationships, that knowledge is one of the things that you can do via community.
And they interact with each other and they form relationships with each other. So it's
Mhm,
not just like it's like a little clique that you become part of, and
mhm.
you have friends and you have like the secret handshake, and you know Apple users are like, I'm not an Apple user, but I know Apple users, and they're like, I'm only going to use Apple products.
Oh yeah, it's like pry this iPhone out of my cold dead hand. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a level of brand loyalty that is all businesses, regardless of size, should strive to achieve that level of I care about this thing so much, and I care about
Mhm.
the ecosystem around it, including the people who are part of this community. It's interesting that you mentioned like the relationships that are built because in more than one instance in the communities that I've been part of and have built, there have been people who've met each other and started businesses together, have started relationships together. And it
Yep.
starts with that shared, we're in this thing together, we're part of this bigger thing. We have common interests. Sometimes the interests are business aligned, sometimes they're personally aligned, and sometimes it's just like, oh, like let's just have a conversation. And it runs the gamut. But that is one of the fundamental differences between community and other forms of, let's call it marketing, go to market.
Mhm.
Most traditional methods are really transactional. Like we put up a Facebook ad, you click on it, you become a lead, we sell you something. Community is different. You enter a conversation, maybe you post something, other people respond, the company responds, and then the conversation continues. It's relational, not transactional.
Mhm.
And because of that, it often requires a different kind of work to keep it going and to make it happen. It's not as one directional, it's more multi-directional, which introduces some complexity, but it's much because of that multi-directional nature, the ties that are woven are much stronger and provide much more value and impact over time.
I think Substack's doing that. Their model, and that's what I really love about Substack above any other platform that I've been part of, and I've been a part of a lot of them over the years. Substack is community driven first.
It
They're
is.
not about advertising. There's no advertising over there. They only make their money when you're making money, so it doesn't feel predatory like a lot of places do. And they're the community that they're building is about we all want to help each other. It's like, I'm about sharing whatever I can share, and I promote other people, I'll tag other people. It's just like, and you can have conversations with people. People write stuff over there, and you can say, "Hey, but what about this?" Or, "Wow, that was so spot on." Or, "You made me think about something." Or,
Mhm.
I had somebody post a note the other day. It's like we shouldn't call these notes. We should call them little therapy sessions because a lot of times they are. You're just like, "Wow, you gave me an experience in haiku format."
I
Just
love
like.
it. Yeah, it's interesting, publishing my own Substack, the community code has been really interesting for me because I mean, I've been a community builder for a long time. And it's interesting to be part of a community, to enter into an established world,
Yeah.
and also try to build my own smaller community within it of people who are interested in my specific topic and my voice. And the way that people connect on Substack, the authenticity that they bring to it, because so many of us are creating content, which is inherently a vulnerable place to be. You don't
Mhm.
know if people are going to like it, if they're not, how they're going to respond, etc. There's just a tremendous amount of support amongst people there to really foster this thing that all of us are creating together.
Yeah. And it feels like we're all working together. And I think part of the vulnerability that we feel when we create content is also the kindness that we offer to other people who are creating content that we're working with. You
Hmm.
don't get the snipiness that happens in other on other platforms. Even on blogging, people can leave you really harsh comments over there because they have nothing at stake. Whereas on Substack, they're writing too. They don't want to be
Yeah.
nasty because
No, it creates
it's
a
just
virtuous
karma.
cycle because you write a nasty post, people are going to go to your profile and see who you are and what you're writing about. You don't want to do that. You want it to be a positive place, and so I found it to be wonderfully positive in a sea of internet that is mostly not.
Yeah. And it's not about everybody agreeing and confirmation bias, which happens a lot. To protect yourself, you
Hmm.
have to just like be in this cocoon of confirmation bias. People who have all kinds of thoughts and wacky ideas or, profound ideas, just ideas, thoughts about stuff or research that they've done that they just want to share. It's not like, you know, they don't have to be right. It's just information. And
Hmm.
you can get actual information and make your own, come to your own conclusion, but you don't have to be right. It's not,
There are many versions of right, as it turns
yes,
out.
yes, yes, there are.
Yeah,
And nobody has the corner on it.
that's
But
exactly right.
it's nice to be in a space where you can be curious and not have to feel like you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, it lacks the vitriol of most other forms of social media on Substack. It's a
Yeah,
pleasant place to be.
it really is. And their algorithm works in a way that it really encourages new people to come. And Google's given it all the love right now. All platforms go through the Google love period, and they're
Hmm.
like smack dab in the middle of it. So really now is a great time to investigate Substack.
Yeah, even as a participant, just to check out what's there.
Yeah, come read. I I have a getting started guide. If it's free, I give it to anybody that subscribes. It'll just like help you get started because it's not super intuitive. But once you get past the basic setup, it's a great place.
Yeah,
Just like
a valuable resource. Take advantage of it, folks.
yeah. So tell us about the community that or the company that you're working for, uh, Graduate.
Yeah, so I'm a busy person. I lead marketing and community here at Gradual, which is a
Gradual.
community management
Okay.
platform, gradual.com. And here we offer a tool that lets you, if you're building a community, mostly this is designed for businesses of varying sizes,
Mhm.
create a community that's robust with conversations, collections of content, courses, events, and so on. So that's one of the things that I do. And I also write about community building on my Substack, which is thecommunitycode.com.
And you also write over on LinkedIn. So
I
I'll
also
mention
post
that
on
too.
LinkedIn. Yes, I'm basically everywhere. So if you're looking for me, you can find me at thecommunitycode.com. You can find me at gradual.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Just look for my name, Joshua Zerkel. I think there's only one. Pretty easy to find.
Okay, that's perfect. And we'll make sure we put those in the show notes so that people can find you easily. And it's been great chatting with you, Josh.
This has been a delight. Thank you, Jill, and thanks everyone for tuning in and watching and listening.
To learn more about the Community Code, consider subscribing to Josh's Substack over at thecommunitycode.com. And if you're interested in the community building platform, that is gradual.com. And you can find Josh on LinkedIn at LinkedIn/IN/Joshua Zerkel. And like I said, we will put those in the show notes so that you don't have to remember them or write them down right now. Thank you for tuning in with us today. If you have a podcast or you're interested in starting one, be sure to reach out to us at support@heartlifecoach.com. We love to help spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches amplify their voice and monetize their message and offer a variety of ways to do this leveraging Substack. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.